Hey y'all, in this video, I am going to show you guys how to make this granny square bag. This one is really fun because you're making two giant granny squares and making it into a handbag. It's a blast. So stay tuned, follow along with me. You guys are going to love this one. Let's get stitching. Okay, so to get started on this awesome bag, you're going to need two different colors of yarn. I am going with these two different ones. You can go with two solid ones. You could even get crazy and go with two that are multicolored, but I went with this. I was walking around Michael's and I'm like, you know what, this looks fun. So that's what I'm doing. So here I actually made the first granny square last night when I was watching a movie with my girls. So let me take a look at what we've got here. So it ends up being a 10 by 10 square. I am going to block it, so it might end up being, I don't know, 11 by 11 perhaps. I'm not really sure yet because I haven't blocked it yet. But I'm sure it'll stretch out a bit, so it might end up being an 11. I don't think it's gonna get to 12. I think it'll probably be 11 by 11. But anyways, so this is the first side done. And now what we're gonna do is make the other one. So basically for this bag, instead of making a bunch of small granny squares, you actually just make two granny squares and then crochet them together and then crochet the handle. So this is gonna be really fun. I had a blast putting this together. It was really fun. I like the colors that I chose, and it's pretty easy. Once you get done making this center portion, then the rest of it, you don't even have to worry about counting. You just already know what your pattern is and you just do it. So it's actually really nice where you can mindlessly crochet. I love the projects that you can mindlessly crochet, right? So you're not having to really keep track of counting. But if we're talking about counting, I ended up picking up this row counter when I was at Michael's. It was the last one they had in stock and I was like, no, I know I can count, blah, blah, blah. But you know how it is, like you're making like a huge Afghan or something and you're like, dang, I can't remember which row I'm on. So I did it. I bought it. But you don't need it on this pattern, but on the next project, we'll probably use something like this. I must use it because I bought it, so I need to use it. Okay, enough talk about that. Let's actually get started. So what I decided was on my pattern is I did solid and then color, solid, color, solid. So that's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna start off with our solid one. I'm gonna show you how to do the center and then I will then show you guys what the pattern is after that. And then it's that same exact pattern throughout the whole project, like I said, so it's really fun. Oh, wait a minute. We're supposed to be making a magic circle, so I apologize for that. Okay, so you make your magic circle, and then you're going to chain 3, which is going to be technically your first double crochet, right? And then we're going to go ahead and do 2 double crochets. It's always tricky working, you know, your first one in the round. So you're going to do your 1, 2. So basically what this pattern is going to be 3 double crochets, then chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, blah, 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 until you make your square. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm on my 2nd double crochet and 3rd double crochet. And then I'm going to chain 2 and then do my other 3 double crochets. And then once you do your 4 corners, then you're gonna slip stitch your last one to your first one. And I will show that in a minute. Let's see where are we at right now. 1, 2, 3. Do one more. And then for this bag, you can add a liner. And I did make a video on how to add a liner. And for this particular bag, it is really easy to add a liner because you're basically just making a square, right? So it's super easy to add a liner into this one. You don't have to, but just to make it a bit more functional, it's really nice. Okay, so I've chained 2. I'm gonna go ahead and slip stitch my my chain 2 into the top of our chain 3, right? Which was technically our first double crochet, or it counted as our first double crochet, but it was not a double crochet. Okay, so there we go. So there's our square. Okay, so this is gonna be the center of the entire granny square. Now we're gonna just build our way out. And it's literally the same pattern all the way through, where you're gonna start off with 1, 2, chain 3, and then you're going to do 2 more double crochets, but plus the chain 3, so that's going to count as 3 double crochets. Chain 2, then do your other 3 double crochets in that same corner space, right? Because now we're building up the corner on the second row. Okay, so there's our other corner. And then we've got our little opening right there. So anytime we finish, we're gonna start in our corner every single time. Okay, so now we're going to, here's what the pattern is. We chain 1, and then we do the corners again. So our pattern is always gonna be 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets into each corner. Then you're going to chain 1 and then go to the next corner. And then as we work our way around, it'll just slightly change, but I'll show you that in a minute. We just have to finish this second row. So this pattern also is you're doing 2 rows of each of your color. So, so for me, it's gonna be 2 rows of this, I don't know what this is. Blue, aqua, teal, I don't know what to call it. So I'll do 2 rows of this, and then I will do 2 rows of my multicolored one, and then so on and so forth, right? Just that same pattern over and over and over, 2 rows of each one. Okay, so I'm almost done with this. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm gonna show you guys how to start with your next color, because like I said, every 2 rows you use a new color. Well, not a new color, but the next color in your pattern. I also, because we're doing a color change every 2 rows, what I did when I made this granny square, when I made this first one, every single time that I did a color change, I weaved in my ends, so that way at the end, when I finished the granny square, I did not have like 800 ends to weave in. They were already done. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt to like weave in the ends as you're doing it. But honestly, I like it better because I can't stand it when you finish. Okay, by the way, I did all 4 corners. I chained one, and then now I'm just gonna slip stitch it into this one. But as I was saying, I can't stand it when I finish my project and I'm so excited to like do the next step of my project. And then I realize, oh, I still have to weave in all my ends, and then I'm not excited anymore. So that's what I've been doing. I've been just weaving in my ends as I go, and it's an absolute pleasure when you get to the end and you're not having to weave it in. I'm not going to show you weaving it in right now just because I want to show you guys how to start your next color. But once I show that, then I'm going to turn off the camera and then off camera weave in the ends. Okay. So whenever you finish 2 rows of a color, your next step is going to be starting with your new color, and you want to always start your new color in a corner. So you're going to get your hook, put it in one of the corners that you want to choose, and then slip stitch it. And then what I do is that one that I got started, I'm just going to quickly tie it off and weave it in right away. So just going to do that now. And then I will weave this in. Done, right? So we're not doing that later. Okay, and it's secure now. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna chain 3, and then we're going to do, it's on this side. Chain 3, and then we're going to do 2 more double crochets, and then chain 2, and then 3 double crochets, right? To make our corner. So 1, 2, and then go ahead and make 3 double crochets in our corner. And then as you can see, our multicolored yarn is starting to bring out the different colors, which is just why I love working with multicolored yarn. And it's nice. Oh, so wait, chain 1. Now here's where the pattern gets slightly different. Instead of chaining 1 and then just going into your corner, you're gonna chain 1 and do 3 double crochets in your last chain 1 spot. So every single time that you work up with each row, whenever there's a chain 1 spot, you're gonna be doing 3 double crochets into that spot. And every single time you get to a corner, you're gonna do 3, chain 2, 3, and then work your way across, right? So that's what you're gonna do. I already lost track of what we were talking about before that, but I had to make sure you guys were aware of how to do that. So this is what the pattern is the entire way. You wanna make sure that you end up with 10 rows total, or 10 rounds total. And when you do that, that's how you end up with the size that I got. Like I said, it's a 10 by 10 right now. I'm gonna block it. It's probably gonna end up being like an 11 by 11. If you wanna make your bag bigger, just keep going with the exact same pattern until you get to the size that you want. It's 2 rows of each color. Okay, so I'm gonna just continue to work on this. And I'm gonna weave in those ends that I didn't get to weave in yet. And then every time that I change my color, I am gonna weave in my ends. So that way when I get to the end of making this granny square, the ends are already gonna be done. So I'm gonna work on this. And then once this one is done, I'm gonna show you guys how to put together the 2 granny squares and also how to make the handle for your bag. So I'm gonna meet you guys back here in a bit. Cassie will be here probably as well. Okay, so right now I'm going through, now that I finished both of my granny squares, I'm going through and I'm pinning them to my board, and then I'm going to spray them with a spray bottle and then let them sit until they are dry. So I'm going ahead and blocking them out right now. Okay, so I was able to block them out, both of them to be exactly 10 by 10 squares. So now I'm gonna spray them down with a spray bottle, and then I'm gonna let them just sit out here until they're completely dry. And then once they are completely dry, then I'm gonna show you guys how to crochet them together and then add on our handle. Okay, so now that we've finished our 2 granny squares and we blocked them out, now we have both of them done. Now the next step is to be working on the handle, and what you're going to want to do is get whatever yarn color you chose for your center color, and mine was the solid color, so that's what I'm going to work with. So what you're going to do is you're going to make your slip knot, and then we're going to chain, excuse me, my cat's in the way, chain 73 for the handle. And then once we chain 73, then we are going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry about all the movement. Cashew's purring and leaning on the thing. After we chain 73, we're going to do single crochet in the second stitch from the hook. Okay, Cashew, you gotta quit it. Okay, buddy? I know you're happy. I was gone for a couple of hours, so I think he's excited that I'm home. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep working on this until I chain 73, and then after I chain 73, I'm gonna start in the second chain from the hook, and I'm gonna do a single crochet in each chain all the way across the stitches for the first row. And then for the second row, I will show you guys what to do. So for this first row, chain 73, and then single crochet starting from the second chain from the hook. And then we'll meet back here for row number 2. Okay, so I finished chaining 73, and then I did a single crochet in each one of the chains, right? Well, starting from the second chain from the hook. So a total of 72 single crochets. Now I'm back at the end. So now the next step for rows 2 and 3, you're going to, chain 1, turn your work, and then you're going to single crochet in each stitch all the way back till you get to the end. And then you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then single crochet all the way back again. So there's going to be 3 rows of this color. Then is when we're going to work on putting these together and then crocheting a border that connects them, and then the border that connects your handle to your bag as well. So that's kind of like all in one step. So that's the next thing. But let's go ahead and finish the next 2 rows of this. So we're going to end up with 3 rows, and then we'll meet back here after that. Okay, so I finished the 3 rows on my handle and I put it aside. So now the next step is going to be attaching our 2 granny squares together. And then after we do that, then we sew the handle onto the top of the bag, and then we go ahead and put on our edging on the handle. So we're like really close to being done. So what you want to do is you're actually going to be single crocheting your 2 granny squares together, and you want to have the 2 wrong sides together in this particular version. So I like this side, so this is my good side of that one. And then I think I'm going to go with that being my good one. So here are my 2 wrong sides, putting them together. And if you want, you can clip them together if you feel like you need to, or not. I'm not going to, because I mean, they're pretty much the exact same size because I blocked them out. If I didn't, I probably would want to, but since I blocked them out, they're like the exact same size. So this is perfect. I mean, even the holes line up, it's great. So what you're gonna wanna do is get your second color. So not your center color, but whatever you used on the other color. So for me, it's the multicolored one. So I'm gonna get that. And what you're gonna do is, okay, that's really gross. Cashew was chewing on that and now it's dried out and nasty. Apparently I'm gonna cut that part off. You're gonna wanna start in one of your corners where you had chained your chain 2 space of your corner, and that's where you're gonna start, and you're gonna do a slip stitch to attach your 2 granny squares together. And I like to apparently find my tapestry needle, but I like to just go ahead and get it tied off right away versus having to come back and do it later. So what I'm gonna do is just tie this off and then weave it in so that way it's ready to go and I don't have to do this at a later point. Because I mean, who wants to like finish sewing it and then they look and they're like, oh, I get to go weave all this in. Nobody looks forward to that, right? So it's a present for your future self by finishing that. Okay, so you slip stitched it, you know, tied off and then sewed it together, whatever. Now we're gonna work on the single crochets of attaching the 2 pieces together. So you're gonna go into every single stitch of both granny squares. Here we go. So I've got the first stitch of this one and this one, and I'm gonna pull through and complete my single crochet. So I'm gonna do that in every single stitch. I'm gonna make sure that I'm grabbing both stitches of both granny squares, and I'm just gonna take my time and enjoy myself and make sure that I'm catching both sides, because you don't want to be doing all this hard work and miss a stitch, right? So don't do that. Take your time and go all the way around. But you're gonna go all the way around only 3 of the sides. So this side, and this side. You're gonna leave this side open because that's gonna be the top of your bag. Okay, so single crochet in every single stitch. Be sure to catch them, take your time and go through and do that on all 3 sides. Then meet me back here and we're going to sew the handle on and then the edging around the handle, and we're gonna be done. And this thing is awesome. I love this bag. I'm really, really, really happy with it. Okay, I'll meet you guys back here very shortly. Okay, so we've done the single crochet all the way around and now it's connected. It looks so darn cute. I love it. It's coming out so nice. Okay, so now what we need to do is sew on our handle. Now, remember, our handle is gonna get a bit more beefier than it looks right now because right now it's just this middle part, right? And then we're gonna single crochet the other color. So what we're gonna do is get our tapestry needle and the same color yarn that you used. So for me, it's the solid color. And I'm gonna just tie off and get this on here and just sew it in real quick, or sew it on. And what I'm gonna do is just really tie that on there. Okay, so I'm gonna get it and I'm just going to hand stitch it to my bag. And when we come around with that multicolored, when we come through with the multicolored yarn, it's really gonna reinforce this. So like, don't worry, we're not stopping here. But go ahead and just work your way through and really hand stitch this on as best as you can. And you know what, like I said, don't be too nervous, because we're gonna go around with our other color, and we're gonna make sure that it's really reinforced. So I'm just gonna go through and attach it to our bag. And I'm gonna do both sides of the handle. And make sure that when you work on the other side of your handle, that you make sure that it is not twisted before you sew it on. So lay it out and make sure it's how it's supposed to be. Okay, so I'm gonna finish doing this, and then I'm gonna do the other side, and then I'm gonna show you guys how to single crochet around that top portion. Okay, so I hand stitched the handle on. I made sure it was not tangled or twisted in any way. Now what we're gonna do is single crochet an edge starting from one corner, working our way down the bag, over the handle, and then back down to that same corner. Then tie off and weave in your ends. Then go ahead and flip your bag, and you're gonna do the exact same thing on this side. All the way around, and then tie off and weave in your ends, and then we're gonna be done. So let me just show you how to get started with that. So we'll get, for me, the multicolored one. So for you, it depends on which one you're going to be working with. And I'm going to go ahead and get started in my stitch. And I'm going to slip stitch it into it. And then I'm going to do a single crochet. Oops, sorry. A single crochet in every single stitch around the top of the bag and this side of the handle. And then when I make it back to that same spot, I'm gonna tie off, weave in my ends, and then do the exact same thing on the other side of the bag. So I'm just gonna work my way across the entire bag right now. Take my time to make sure I get every single stitch. Don't want to miss any. So I will meet you guys back here when I've completed both sides of the top of the bag and the handles. And then we will look at the finished product together. I am so excited to use this bag. Okay, meet you guys back here. Hey y'all, in this video, I am gonna show you guys how to make this granny square bag. This one is really fun because you're making two giant granny squares and making it into a handbag. It's a blast. So stay tuned, follow along with me. You guys are gonna love this one. Let's get stitching. You guys, we did it. Check it out. It's so stinking cute. I love this. I love making two giant granny squares, single crocheting them together, and voila, you have a bag. And the size is so nice. Now we can also add in a liner to make it even more like useful. I guess it really depends on what you're planning on putting in it, but gosh, this is so fun. I think this is my favorite one I've ever made. And I think I might give it away as a gift to maybe my sister or someone. I don't know. I love it though. Oh. Okay, feel free to comment below. Let me know if you guys have any other ideas for anything else to make. Otherwise, honestly, you guys, this was my favorite one. So maybe let's make more of these and like, let's just make these granny squares just like giant suitcase sized granny squares. Should we do that? Ooh, the next video is going to be crochet pillows. Well, one crochet pillow. I put up a, what is that called? When you all like vote on what you want. I can't think of the word right now, but anyways, I put one up and you guys voted on a crochet pillow. So I'm working on that right now, and that's what the next video is going to be. So stay tuned for that. So please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.